what was going to happen, to create a community which would make the crushing loneliness that we felt as a family, the lack of contact with others who were affected by the same disease, doctors that were treating it, what results they'd had, and so forth.
Your Royal Highness,
was unavailable.
Distinguished guests, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon. I have the pleasure and, of course, the honor as well to welcome you to the 5th EURORDIS Awards and Black Pearl evening. Thank you very much to be with us today. It really means a lot to the whole community. This year's event has a refreshed format. The purpose is, of course, as you all know, to give due recognition and being live streamed. It's also something new this year. So let me welcome you again, whoever you are, wherever you come from, at home or at your office. Now, this event was created to celebrate Rare Disease Day and to express our solidarity and hope with the whole rare disease community. Now, we also want to honor all those working every day to improve the lives of people living with a rare disease throughout Europe. Please welcome to the stage, first of all, the Chairman of the Board of EURORDIS, Mr. Terkel Andersen.
Thank you, Marlene. Your Royal Highness, Princess Anne de Ligne, Your Excellencies, ambassadors from Ireland and from Malta, Madame Michèle Muscat, First Lady of Malta, and First Lady of Serbia, Danica Nikolic. It's a great honor and pleasure to have you with us. Ladies and gentlemen, and audience which is watching us alive, it's so great to be here to welcome you to this fine event, which is not the first time, but as Marlene said, in a different format tonight. We have changed the format a little bit in order to make sure that the awards are presented and that our attention is focused very much on really giving our recognition to those people whom we award tonight. And I'm very pleased that the awards will actually be given by Her Royal Highness, Princess Astrid. Thank you very much for contributing to this. Tonight is an evening of celebration. It's an evening of, well, being happy for all we have achieved. In fact, it's my opinion and my feeling that rare diseases are slowly coming to what you might call an age which is more mature. That we are slowly getting to the point where we can say that we are reaching our objectives, or some of our objectives. This past year, we have seen at the work of the European Medicines Agency, that more than 1,000 products for the treatment of rare diseases have obtained so far the designation as orphan drugs. This is, of course, not the same as saying that these drugs will all be available for the treatment of rare diseases, but with 1,000 drugs on the way through clinical trials, we have firm hope that a large proportion of these drugs will actually end up getting a market authorization, and by that being accessible for patients throughout Europe. And this is a great achievement. And it's an achievement which is the result not only of the legislation that was passed more than 15 years, in fact, 17, 18 years ago. It's the result of a comprehensive work and a collective work made by scientists, whether it be at universities, whether it be in the laboratories of pharmaceutical companies. It's the work of trying to push this as much as possible, also through the advocacy and the work of dedicated people from our community, doctors, but not least patients who have been involved in different committees and whom we will also honor tonight. The work we have done and what we have achieved is very much something we do as a collective, and we do it by joining hands throughout Europe. And I want to emphasize that we could not have achieved what we have. We could not see these results without European collaboration, without actually people overcoming language, culture barriers, actually committing themselves. What we see is not the result of policies or science as abstract concepts. It's the result of people dedicating themselves, committing themselves with passion and a fantastic energy. An energy which comes very much from being aware of the plight that rare diseases impose on people. An energy which comes from being personally involved to the extent that you may be the mother of children with a rare disease and fighting incredibly hard to achieve results while it's time. And we'll also celebrate people who have done an enormous work, not only to save their own children, but actually to save lives and quality of life for children and grown-up people with rare diseases, not only from their own disease, but actually for all rare diseases. Tonight we will celebrate also such a person. It's outstanding what people actually can do, what kind of energy people can bring to the floor when motivated by the needs of life. So I look forward to hearing the motivations for people tonight and to hear people who have committed themselves explain about their motivation. So by that, I would like also to introduce at another level someone representing the European collaboration, which is so important to us, without which nothing could happen. And I'll introduce a person who unfortunately could not be with us tonight due to other obligations, Jerzy Buzek, who is the chair of the Scientific and Energy Committee of the European Parliament. I'm very happy that we have a presentation by him on the video where he will, as honorary patron of this event, tell us about what motivates also the European Parliament to contribute to the advancement of the cause of rare diseases. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, duties in the European Parliament unfortunately made it impossible for me to attend the EURORDIS Awards and Black Pearl evening. I regret that very much, but I'm happy that I can share a few remarks with you, at least this way, thanks to modern technologies. Going through life, there is one lesson that we are all being reminded many times. Health is the single most important value. The significance of curing diseases does not need explaining. You are on the forefront of this fight, and we are all grateful for that. We need to support and promote research and development of cutting-edge healthcare in order to develop cures with the use of genetic and other advanced therapies. Understanding the need to expand this innovative thinking in Europe, we boosted third health package with 40% more funds than previously to meet the goals of Horizon 2020. With increased access to better and safer healthcare, our fellow citizens will receive better medical expertise for specific conditions. We know that this money, even 40% more, is not enough to solve all problems. But organically, we stimulate exchange of knowledge among researchers, improving recognition and visibility of rare diseases, and supporting plans to tackle them in each EU member state, and pooling those resources together on the European level. Our citizens are our inspiration, and it is them who give us the incentive to keep developing orphan drugs to continue the fight. Dear ladies, dear gentlemen, our societies are aging, and every effort to improve healthcare is paramount. But the first step starts with each and every one of us. Because rare diseases are not rare enough to ignore the dangers which they entail. We should keep ourselves informed. We should be aware and promote awareness among our loved ones, friends, and all our colleagues. This evening is certainly a very good opportunity to raise the awareness further. Let me warmly congratulate the winners, and let me wish you all a very pleasant evening. Thank you very much.
Well, with your permission, Mr. Anderson, I suggest that we proceed now with the EURORDIS Awards. As been said before, these awards recognize the outstanding commitment and achievements by patient organizations, by volunteers, by companies, by scientists, by media, and by policymakers who all have contributed to reducing the impact of rare disease on people's lives, on people's everyday lives. Now, I will invite, as every year, each winner on stage. Please remember that there will be an official photograph taken with our princess of Astrid of Belgium. Et je voudrais vous demander, Madame, de me rejoindre sur scène. Please, we are very, very happy to have you with us today, ladies and gentlemen, Princess Astrid of Belgium. Now, I would also like to call on stage the Vice Chairwoman of the Board of Directors, Avril Daly. Now, the 2016 Policymaker Award recognizes a man who has consistently demonstrated a strong vision of patient centricity. He's also committed to quality and accessible healthcare services in Romania and in Europe, from launching the Public Patients' Rights campaign to co-hosting the Rare Disease Day policy event, he has shown devotion and passion in addressing the needs of rare disease patients across Europe. So please put your hands together for the Member of the European Parliament, Cristian Silviu Buzoi.
Your Royal Highness, Your Excellencies, first of all, I would like to thank EURORDIS for awarding me with the Policy Maker Award. It is a great honor for me to be here today and to receive this award. Promoting rare diseases as a public health priority is one of the most important stated objectives to EURORDIS. And in the past years, EURORDIS, a very active organization at European level, attracted an increasing number of patient organizations to unite, expand, and reinforce the rare disease movement of patient organizations and patient advocates around the world. Even though public health is a member state competence, in the past years, European Union has taken action and has done very much, bringing an added value in supporting and encouraging the cooperation across member states. From cross-border healthcare directive to clinical trials regulation, from Horizon 2020 research programs to Health for Growth program 2014-2020, EU is improving the health of European citizens. Rare diseases affect between 27 and 36 million people in the European Union and are a key health policy priority due to the limited number of patients and scarcity of relevant knowledge and expertise regarding particular diseases. Patients with rare diseases often spend years of uncertainty waiting for their disease to be diagnosed and for an appropriate treatment to be found. The small number of patients for these diseases and the need to mobilize resources can only be efficient through a coordinated European approach. This is why European Union dimension and the cooperation between member states can make a difference. For example, in sharing together knowledge and expertise, in fostering research and cooperation, and in granting the best possible medicines for the whole citizens' European Union. EU action on rare diseases provides high added value. Member states have different systems, and not all of them have national plans to address the burden of rare diseases. But while sustainability is a legitimate concern, innovation should be seen as the solution to sustainability rather than a threat. I really do hope that improving the life of patients who suffer from rare diseases and their families is and will be a priority. As a member of Health Committee of European Parliament and as a co-chair of Interest Group on Access to Healthcare, I will continue to closely work with EURORDIS to develop new legislation to raise awareness among my colleagues in European Parliament and not only, and to improve the situation of patients with rare diseases among EU member states. Thank you very much. I'm very honored.
Now, the next award to be presented this evening is for someone who dedicates her life to caring for her daughter affected with the rare disease alternating hemiplegia. She happens also to be a PhD in biology, speaking fluently 5 languages. She founded the European Network for Research on Alternating Hemiplegia and volunteered for numerous years at EURORDIS. She's a patient representative on the Pediatric Committee of the European Medicines Agency since its creation in 2008. 8 years of continuous huge commitment, which can be up to 10 days per month. To accept the Volunteer Award, please welcome Sveta Szins-Liharska.
Royal Highness, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you to everyone who nominated me and the EURORDIS board who have selected me to be the 2016 Volunteers nominee for the award. This is such a great honor, but the thing that counts the most with me is the friendship and the joy to see advances being made for every and all rare diseases. I thank EURORDIS for creating opportunities, such as representing rare disease community at the European Medicine Agency, and also this incredibly inspiring environment that is for rare disease volunteers. I truly appreciate the trust in me to represent the rare disease community at the Pediatric Committee at the European Medicine Agency already in 3 subsequent terms, almost 8 years. Thank you also to all my colleagues from European Medicine Agency, from European Network for Research on Alternating Hemiplegia, and friends and other volunteers who made these projects possible. And I would like to say I wouldn't be standing here today without my family, my husband and my wonderful daughters, which are the greatest source of inspiration and motivation for me to do this work. So thank you very much to my husband for his continuous support and encouragement to all of the years. And thank you all for sharing this happy moment with me. Thank you.
Congratulations. Yeah. Now, before the next awards, I would like to invite you to watch the official 2016 Rare Disease video. It's been translated in 33 languages and it's available in 80 countries and on global social media.
If you care for someone with a rare disease, you are not alone. There are over 6,000 rare diseases. For most, there is no cure. For many, there is no independence. At any moment, they need care, loving moments, intimate moments, basic moments. There are everyday moments, but there are special moments, and there are special days. This is a special day. This film is dedicated to patients, carers, patient organizations, health professionals and educators. Together, we celebrate a special day. The last day of February is Rare Disease Day, the 29th of February 2016. If you care, join us in making the voice of rare diseases heard.
Now, the third award this evening, ladies and gentlemen, the scientific award goes to a man who's making an exceptional contribution to genetic diagnostics and computational biology, the human phenotype ontology and its application Phenomenizer shortens the path of diagnosis, crucial, of course, when dealing with genetic disorders. He is a highly recognized expert in his field, and his commitment in particular to patients with Marfan syndrome is outstanding. Please give him a warm welcome, Professor Dr. Peter Robinson.
Thank you very much. I can hardly say how much an honor this is, not just for me, but of course for a team of people who have contributed to this research. I thought I'd just spend 1 minute to mention why I'm motivated, what I think is so special about rare diseases. Of course, for me it's been a great team, but I think what's really special, what differentiates our specialty is the community. That's why organizations such as EURORDIS are so important, by building community. I can hardly say how much I've benefited from collaborators in America, all over Europe, in Australia, even in Asia. Another thing which has been very special has been the contact to rare disease patient organizations, especially with Marfan. Over the years, they've become friends. Anyway, thank you very much for this award. I'm deeply honored, and thank you.
The next award goes to a patient organization that has been the source of support and self-help to families of children with a rare chromosome disorder since 1984. Representing over 14,000 families worldwide in over 90 countries, the organization has worked hard to raise awareness of rare chromosome disorders to professionals and the general public, so they to have an appreciation of the extraordinary challenges their members face. Now, to accept the Patient Organization Award 2016 on behalf of UNIQUE, please welcome Beverly Sherrill.
Your Royal Highness, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, when I think of the wonderful organisations that constitute EURORDIS, I'm truly humbled that our organisation, UNIQUE, has been awarded this very prestigious prize. When you think of patient organisations, we're not thinking about bricks and mortar and walls, or a small staff team such as ours, just 9 people. We're thinking of a whole community of people. Yes, our extremely hard-working team who show passion, drive and commitment and go way beyond the call. But each of them is motivated by having a child with a rare chromosome disorder, and as Turkel alluded to, that is a huge motivator. My own daughter was affected by a chromosome disorder. We have a wonderful board of trustees who support us, again, bringing professional expertise and personal experiences and keeping us to the task. We have an amazing army of professionals, geneticists, pediatricians, all sorts of researchers who volunteer for us, literally hundreds of people worldwide who help us verify the information guides we put out, now over 160, who help us translate those guides into many languages, now 12 European languages, who even run marathons for us to support us and raise funding and awareness. But most of all, our community is about the families who have to face the challenges on a daily basis that rare chromosome disorders bring. These people are amazing, what they have to contend with. And each of them, even though they're so busy and challenged, freely offer their information to help others, offer support to other families through our social media. And truly, there's a huge synergy in Unique that helps all our families. And I would just say to anybody out there who feels isolated, as many of us did, please make sure to join an organisation like Unique or to EURORDIS's wonderful Rare Connect scheme. And I'm sure that that will help you to look after your children and to move forward. Thank you once again for this wonderful award. We really appreciate it.
Now I invite you to watch a video again. Let's get inspired by the first stars I see tonight.
When I was 16, I saw the Milky Way for the first time. I was 6 months old when I was diagnosed with retinitis pigmentosa. I'm lucky. The type that I have is not the most vicious or devastating. It means that I'm night blind, that my peripheral vision is slowly narrowing into a pinhole, and that my depth perception is gradually flattening away to nothing. My cousins and I used to go out and lie on sleeping bags in the back of a pickup truck and watch meteor showers. They would watch, I would stare up into the black sky and study the 7 bright points of light that I could see, and wonder what it was like. Then my dad. My father ordered a pair of Russian night vision goggles from a military surplus catalogue. He said he wanted to watch his sprinklers at night and make sure they didn't get plugged by debris in the irrigation water. But he also knew what a gift it would be for me. When the package arrived, I spent the day reading the instructions over and over again, waiting for night to fall. Then finally, the sun went down, Dad turned off our yard light, and we went outside. I put on the goggles and looked up into the sky. It was a personal miracle. Stretching above me in uncountable points of light as far as I could see, there were stars. Some of them clustered so tightly together they made swirling patterns of white against the inky darkness. I stared. I'd had people describing the stars to me all my life. And what I'd come to realise was that everyone tells you something different because they all see them in their own way. But none of what they had tried to describe to me could possibly match the glittering arch of that night sky. I still wasn't seeing what others would have. Even with the assistance of night vision goggles, there would be stars too dim for my eyes to perceive. Then too, there was the matter of that green wash of colour over everything. It didn't matter. I was breathless under an arm of the Milky Way that I'd always simply had to take on faith was even there. My dad had done what all good fathers promise their children they'll do. He gave me the stars.
Now back to the stars of this evening. We now turn to the EURORDIS European Rare Disease Leadership Award. Now this year, EURORDIS has decided to jointly present this award to 3 key pioneers from the Directorate General of Health within the European Commission. Now, for his pivotal role in the development and adoption of the Commission communication in 2008 and the Council recommendation on rare disease in 2009, which shaped the European Union rare disease policy, Mr. Anthony Montserrat Moliner. Then, the man who has pioneered in setting the policy agenda for the first and the current rare disease joint actions, whilst demonstrating leadership through his day-to-day support to the whole community through the Commission Expert Group on Rare Diseases, Mr. Jaroslav Valigora. And then the person who has been instrumental in initiating and supporting policies around rare diseases, notably in the establishment of the Commission Expert Group on Rare Diseases and the Commission Expert Group on Cancer Control, Mr. Michael Hubel.
Altesse Royale, ladies and gentlemen, and especially the friends of EURORDIS, thanks a lot for this honor that we certainly assume and we receive in a collective way, in the name of all the colleagues having worked during years in the European Commission in the field of rare diseases. Certainly, well, as officials of the European Commission, you can think that really we were simply doing our professional obligation. But I can certainly guarantee you that it was much more than this. It was much more than a simple professional obligation. It was a complicity, it was a passion, it was a sharing constantly with the people suffering from the rare diseases and trying to interpret what should do a European administration and the European Union in the benefit of the patients and the people suffering from rare diseases. We tried to do this, to try to establish an equal relation with EURORDIS, with all the patients' organizations, in a way that our action could be beneficial for people. This is certainly that we are proud to say that if during these years we have been able to create a certain legal framework, having attracted the curiosity, the political commitment in a lot of member states for rare diseases, we are proud certainly to have contributed a little in this long, long way for converting one day the rare diseases in something recognized in all the administrations, in all the political bodies in our society. Thanks a lot, and thanks to EURORDIS once again.
Your Royal Highness, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, it's really great honor for me to be here with you and to receive EURORDIS Award. And this is in particular importance to see that what we are trying to do in the European Commission is seen by patients as something useful. This is not always very easy to keep that focus on the needs of patients from behind the desk of the policy officer in the international institution. Therefore, it is really reassuring. I'm very grateful to my patients suffering from rare diseases, rare genetic disorders, from whom I learned a lot about patients' needs. And this life experience was for me a backbone for my actions later on. I see this award not as a personal award, but as Tony said, as a collective award for all colleagues working in the European Commission on topics related to rare diseases. It is impossible to list all these areas here, but I would just to mention orphan medicinal products policy, European reference networks, registries, research. And finally, I was quite surprised to see the decision of the board to give us a leadership award, because actually I see our work as more coordinating work for all of you to help to use your knowledge to develop this policy on European level. So I would like to thank all of you who already contributed to that development. Thank you very much, and thank you very much for this.
Your Royal Highness, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, let me also thank you very much for this unexpected honor for a Commission bureaucrat. I accept it with a lot of humility because, to echo what Jarek said, I think the Leadership Award belongs much more to people sitting in this room than to us. But if we've done a little bit to help bring the agenda forward, to help coordinate the work between what is happening in research in pharmaceuticals policy from a public health perspective, as Mr. Buzoy said, from Horizon 2020 to the health program, I think we have done a little bit to bring forward a very, very important policy agenda together with and in the interest of patients across Europe, and that is the central thing, and that is the importance. I'm accepting this award also with a big humility because I have so much respect for the work of these patient organizations across the countries of Europe at a global level, brought together through EURORDIS, and their important contribution to the work of the expert group on rare diseases, the coordination work on rare cancers, and the things we were perhaps able to take forward over the last years. I think we've achieved a lot, but there is a long way still to go, and we will only be successful in this long way if we continue to go this together, and if we continue to build upon and be driven by the energy, the support, and the determination of you, of patients. And in that sense, I'm very, very grateful, but really it is an award for all of us together in taking forward an extraordinary bit of European health policy. And if people ever ask you about why does it make sense for Europe to work on health, do point to the rare diseases area. Thank you very much.
Now, Your Royal Highness, ladies and gentlemen, let's move now to the Media Award. France Télévisions broadcasts live since 30 years the France Téléthon, organized in partnership with the AFM Téléthon. Now, thanks to this television program, it has been possible to support research and to create the Institute of Biotherapies for Rare Diseases. Now, this major event informs the general public about rare diseases and promote policy changes in France and in Europe. Now, the Media Award 2016 goes to France Télévisions and to AFM Téléthon. Please welcome Philippe Villamitiana, François Lamy, and Christian Cotet.
Votre Altesse royale, Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs, this year, France Télévisions will be taking part in its 30th Téléthon. The link between France Télévisions, the #1 public broadcasting group in France, and the AFM Téléthon goes back over a very long period. Our Téléthon partnership is second to none. Founded in 1987 between the public group and an association whose aim is to further research, cure children, and improve the day-to-day lives of their families. The mobilization around 30-hour-long Téléthon marathon makes it a unique event in which all the France television channels take part, with a program developing and gaining in impetus over the years. Our aim is to provide a program based on spectacular events, full of interesting portraits, reports, and entertainment. The Téléthon is a festive event, and more than 600 people work behind the scenes to make this event such a huge success. The actual program is carefully put together with the AFM Téléthon. Our role is very clear, definite. We are not responsible for collecting the donation, but we do everything we can to ensure that the sum collected is as high as possible. Sharing social contact and solidarity are values we have in common with the AFM Téléthon. The Téléthon represents our battle against illness. Year after year, we can see hope and the will to win this battle against illness in the eyes of the children, their family, the scientists, and the voluntary workers. But the Téléthon is not just a useful event. It's essential to social cohesion, a moment when a nation can come together, reunite, and share the same cause. A famous personality said, "The Téléthon is July the 14th, Bastille Day, in winter." Yes, I can say we are very proud to have been accompanying the AFM Téléthon for the past 30 years and will continue to do so. We are very honored to receive this prize today, and in the name of the French television chairperson, Mrs. Delphine Ernotte-Cancy, and all of those who have worked on this unique TV adventure, I express our heartfelt thanks. Je vous remercie très sincèrement.
Thank you, Philippe. Your Royal Highness, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is a great pleasure to be here today next to Philippe Villamijana, receiving this prize together, because all this, we built it together. As a matter of fact, it is a successful and a long-lasting story that ties our two organizations. As Philippe has explained already, he explained much about the Téléthon. I would nevertheless want to add a few things. Thanks to the Téléthon, it's more than 1.2 billion euros that were invested in research against hundreds of rare diseases. At first sight, it could look impressive. However, and unfortunately, there exist more than 7,000 identified rare diseases today, and one can realize that a lot more must be done to fight against rare diseases. Beside research and therapeutics development, more than 600 million euros has been invested in social missions to reinforce the rare disease patient voice in France, Europe, and worldwide. For many years, we are paving the way with EURORDIS to make the patient voice stronger and stronger and taken into account in Europe. As a patient organization, our goal is not to finance research. Our goal is to find a cure. This is the reason why we have built a research institute called Institut des Biothérapies. It's a translational research institute which gathers more than 600 experts working on fundamental research, gene therapy, cell therapy, drug production, and a lot more. Since the first telethon, we understood that the money we receive from donators is more than just money. It's a confidence placed in our hands. As a consequence, everything that we build does not belong to us. We owe it to our donators, and our duty is to develop in any moments the right choice for improving the life of patients. Hope is our reason to act. For this reason, transparency is of utmost importance to us. Transparency in finance through annual reports, very deep audits. Transparency in research, our labs are open to visitors regularly, and our researchers go to school to meet pupils and maybe to spark vocations. Transparency, finally, through the telethon. It's a wonderful window through which we show what we do. To finish, I would like to stress what Philippe has already said. Telethon is solidarity. Telethon is necessary to the French nation. This was particularly true last December, when the telethon took place a few weeks only after Paris terrorist attacks. It meant a lot to the population to meet in events driven by solidarity and happiness. Telethon addressed then to a much wider field than just rare diseases. Thank you very much.
Okay, now one before last is the company award, chosen according to the criteria showed behind me, normally, well, I guess in a couple of seconds. With this award, EURORDIS would like to acknowledge the continued commitment to discovering, development and commercializing innovative drugs for diseases with significant unmet medical needs. Now, the company has engaged with and supported patient organizations since its founding. This has especially helped to raise awareness, very important of course, and understanding of pulmonary arterial hypertension, including the importance of psychosocial support in disease management. Now, they also support key EURORDIS initiatives which help make possible our actions to end isolation of people living with a rare disease. Now, I'm delighted to announce that the Company Award 2016 goes to Actelion. Please welcome to the stage Dr. Alessandro Maresta.
Your Royal Highness, ladies and gentlemen, it is with great emotion that I'm receiving this prize, this prestigious award, on behalf of all Actelion employees. I would like to thank EURORDIS and all those from the community that have nominated us. This award is very special for Actelion and very important because it acknowledges our long-term commitment for rare diseases. Actelion was founded in 1997 with the objective to discover innovative medicine for diseases with high unmet medical need. And the core of our research has always been rare diseases. Over the last 15 years, we have brought innovative medicine in two main areas, as already said, pulmonary arterial hypertension and Niemann-Pick type C disease. And now we are addressing the patient needs in over 60 countries, from Europe to Asia, from North Africa to Americas to Australia. But managing a rare disease is much more than providing a therapy. It's much more than providing just a drug. It includes an open and fruitful collaboration with all the key stakeholders. We are working together with more than 120 patient organizations worldwide. Together, we want to support disease awareness. We want to support the management of the disease, and we want to support initiatives that are patient-centric. But most importantly, we are listening to patients, and we are listening to what they are suggesting to us, to their needs, because we would like to improve the burden for them and for their caregivers. I would like finally to express our gratitude to all the clinicians, the people that are working in the labs, the nurses, the patient communities, and our partners for all the work that has been done in the past 15 years, and that has provided us the possibility to develop knowledge, medicine, education, and access to therapies. So finally, on behalf of all the Actelion employees, I would like to thank EURORDIS for this prize that has a very important meaning for Actelion. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Now, this brings us to the last award of this evening, the Lifetime Achievement Award. It is an exceptional recognition, as the title says, for the lifelong work of an individual to achieve change for those living with a rare disease. Now, the 2016 winner has tirelessly devoted herself to the rare disease cause in Italy. After the delayed diagnosis of 2 out of her 3 children, she collaborated with the Metabolic Diseases Patient Organization. As president of the Italian Rare Disease National Alliance, UNIAMO, she advocated for patient representatives to be part of the decision-making process and has committed to the social innovation project Ristoro Fantasia. Now, please welcome this year's Lifetime Achievement Award winner, Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, Mrs. Renza Barbon Galuppi.
It's very difficult for me to speak English, but I try. And the people, I have to, ladies and gentlemen, many, many thanks for this EURORDIS Awards. And I would like to share with my husband, with my daughter Laura, with my son Giacomo, and with my son Tommaso, the rarest one, and with all my Italian community, on the people stay at home now and who share in this very important moment for all the people. And also for the Italian people, I feel very, very, very glad to receive this one for long life. I remember when I went here in Brussels the first time, and it was, I think, the first time it was the assembly meeting of EURORDIS. But sure is not my last time, I'm sure, because all the people know I don't stop, but with this important project to employ the people, because the people with the rare disease are co-pilots in research, co-pilots in the health, co-pilots in the welfare, and we have sure that all the people with a rare disease can live much better and improve the quality of the life, also with a job. And this is a very important view for the future, because we are sure we are doing something in Italy for the social service, but also for the employer, the people, very, very important things. And so I'm very, very glad, I'm very thanks, also in italiano. Grazie mille di questa bellissima serata e di questo premio come mamma, mother of the community, Italian community people. Many thanks.
Now, before calling the ambassador on stage, I would like to warmly thank you. Merci beaucoup, madame, d'être parmi nous ce soir. Merci d'avoir accepté à remettre les awards, les prix. Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much. Now, as I said, I would like to introduce the ambassador of the 2016 Rare Disease Day, Sean Heber-Farrer.
Good evening, Your Highness, First Ladies, Excellencies, dear friends. Thank you so much for coming this evening. Here we are at the conclusion of yet another beautiful evening, and my third year as having the pleasure of being of help and assistance. First of all, I'd like to bring a warm thought from a man in Spain. His name is Miguel Moreno. He's a national treasure. I don't think there is a town in Spain that doesn't have a square with one of his sculptures. And Miguel turned 80 last year, and he is the man that has created this joyous new award that you've all seen in the hands of the people who received them this evening. And as he did turn 80, and I saw him last summer for the last time that I saw him, but he's well and doing well, he looked up at me with these burning eyes and said, I'm going to be 80 this year, and I've been healthy every day of my life. How lucky I am. He says, I would like to join my hand to the hands of these children I've joined in this award, which, by the way, is not a machine-made award, but it is a hand, one by one, just like any precious sculpture. And so he wanted me to send this message to you all. When my mother became ill, and we went home to spend our last Christmas together, during the last few weeks, I would sit up at night in a chair, and we would talk. As we had talked in the dark when I was a little boy, and she would invite me over for a sleepover. And on one night, I asked her if she had any regrets. And she did say that she felt that she regretted the way we treated each other, that she regretted the way we treated children, and the fact that a child had a different value whether he was born in the United States, in Europe, or in sub-Saharan Africa. And she looked at me and she said, you know, we couldn't save all of them, but each and every one of them needed to know that someone was coming. And on that note, I say this to all of you, but also to everyone that is watching this tonight. EURORDIS is not only coming, it has arrived for millions of people who need the extraordinary services that they provide, connecting people in a myriad of ways. I was having a little cup of soup in a little organic place across the street this afternoon, and there was an elderly lady, definitely a grandmother, with her newly born grandchild in her arms. And I just sat there watching them, and there was an extraordinary sort of burning gaze, stare between those two that you could not have cut with a knife. And that is the trust, the collective responsibility that my mother often spoke about when she spoke on behalf of children, that unites us. We do belong to each other, and we do have a tremendous responsibility to each other. And this is what really EURORDIS represents. In addition to sharing information and propelling us into a world where technology is crossing boundaries. We are starting to treat regular diseases in a much more targeted way than ever before. We're taking the real patient into consideration. And so it is my personal belief and hope that what we learn today in the world of rare diseases is something that will benefit and befall all of us in the future, and which is why my beautiful wife Karen and I have picked this year our own little saying, which is that we hope that one day we'll all be rare. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It's time to conclude. I would like to congratulate all the winners again, all the winners of tonight. You are an inspiration to all of us. I think it's the 4th year that I present this gala, and I know it's called the Gala of Solidarity and Hope, and I must say that I really feel the vibes of solidarity and hope, which is not always the case when you are on stage and when you're presenting things. So thank you very much for this wonderful positive energy and this courage that, that drives us all to do the best we can. Now, what do I have to tell you? Yeah, that I would like to remind you also that there will be this official photo, as I said before, in the Adolf Max Salon, where the cocktail will ensue now, and of course we'll see each other after that. Thank you very much.
For me is very important. I have the pleasure to be co-chair of the committee, and I'm also very proud of being, in that sense, part of what EURORDIS is doing. I admire very much the job, the fantastic commitment they all have, each of EURORDIS team. I think this idea of giving these awards, 8 awards, 8 topics, makes it really a success, if I can say so. I like specifically the lifetime dedicacy, the volunteering, the patient, the policy making. I know how difficult it is to change policies. I know how difficult it is to propose new laws, specifically in the European institutions, and I admire the job and the commitment that EURORDIS team is having.
3 years ago, I had the great pleasure of being asked to become ambassador for rare disease. I think mostly because my mother, Audrey Hepburn, became ill with a rare form of cancer that only affects 1 person in a million. At the time, it was referred to as adenocarcinoma. Today, we know it as PMP, or pseudomyxoma peritonei. It's a disease which at the time we knew very little about. And I immediately connected to the fact that we as a family felt a great loneliness. And once it was explained to us what EURORDIS does, what it has done, what it is doing, and what it intends to do, it immediately became clear that an essential part of what was going to happen was to create a community which would make the crushing loneliness that we felt as a family, the lack of contact with others who were affected by the same disease, doctors that were treating it, what results they'd had, and so forth, at the time was unavailable. And so it was essential to us as a family to be able to stand up and help in any way we could. Well, Rare Disease Day is a celebration, a time when a platform is available for the organizations to talk about what is happening, to keep people up to date, to remind them of the availability of all these extraordinary services, including Rare Connect. It is my belief and my hope that what we are learning today through the treatment of rare diseases is going to, in the future, help medicine at large, the way we treat everyone, and which has sort of given birth to a little saying that my wife and I are sort of using as a flag this year, which is that we hope that one day we'll all be rare.
It's an honor and a pleasure to be here tonight. And of course it's important because we are talking about rare diseases, about people who are suffering in the isolation of their homes, people who might not know anyone else going through what they are going through. But tonight, people who can help them are all here under one roof. My family also went through a rare disease. My mother got sick with a rare condition, with PSP, which hits 1 in 10,000. On our island, our doctors told us that there was only one case. It took a year to be fully diagnosed, and there was nothing that we can do. No medication, just trying to make the patient, in this case my mother, somewhat more comfortable in living her life, and also not knowing what the outcome will be. I could have easily said that I can just forget about this episode because a rare disease took my mother away, and of course you will never get over that. But in actual fact, I am here and I want to help other people live through this thing in a much more, if not comfortable way, but knowing that there are people who are trying to highlight this thing, living with a rare disease especially. The National Alliance for Rare Disease Support will bring together all the players in Malta, patients who are alone, who are in the isolation of their homes, but also other small groups that try to do something to raise awareness on their disease, the University of Malta, who is doing brilliant research, but also the health authorities who are working so that we can together bring everybody under one roof.